Connor used to reside in a small town near a lake. Each year on the night of before Halloween, Connor and his friends, Corey and Ryan, would each place a pumpkin on the lake. On Halloween, they would travel to the other side of the lake to see if their pumpkins had arrived. On a cold October night, Connor had gathered his friends at the lake. They each carefully set their pumpkins in the dark water. The boys knew that they should head home. There had recently been a kidnapping after all. Connor and Ryan started to walk back, but something had caught Corey's eye. He informed the others that he thought he saw something behind the tree that was only a handful of yards away, and the tree lines in front of the thick forest, letting anything that used to lurk behind the hastily escaped view. Early in the afternoon, Connor and his friends were at the lake, eager to get to their long trek to the other side, where there had been a brief downpour from the previous night's hens. The ordinarily bare dirt path had shifted into a damp mud. As the boys were walking, Ryan pointed out that what looked to be light footprints traveling down the trail. However, Connor and Corey didn't think much of it. As they continued down the path, they spotted the lake. The boys ran towards it with anticipation. When they stepped foot in the small patch of grass that borders the lake, Connor noticed something. His pumpkin, his average-sized pumpkin, with a stem that curled at the end of the point, rested on the grass. Ryan's pumpkin was on shore about a yard away. Corey's pumpkin, on the other hand, however, was nowhere to be found. When Connor was at his house, he started to carve the pumpkin. However, something was wrong. The pumpkin looked as if it had a small slip near the top. When Connor finished carving to the top of the pumpkin, he noticed a small bag inside. The bag continued a note with, "Have a jolly Halloween." Connor was visibly perplexed at the note. Why did someone put this in my pumpkin? Connor thought out loud. Connor decided that it might have been there before he even bought the pumpkin. The slit was hardly visible, so he could have overlooked it. That night, Connor and his friends were ecstatic to go trick-or-treating. They walked around the neighborhood for about an hour before coming to a halt at a certain house. Corey stopped the others and pointed out what he thought was the pumpkin that he released into the water from the previous night. Connor and Ryan both had informed him that the pumpkin just looked familiar. It was not in fact his. 1 hour later, Connor and his friends were at his house, comparing how much candy they had each received. Connor was only going for his candy when he felt a small piece of paper. The paper read, "I hope you had a jolly Halloween." Connor gasped in shock. He quickly informed his friends that the note he had found earlier in that day and asked them if they had a small similar note among their candy. Ryan and Corey carefully searched through their candy, but to no avail. Now Connor was scared. He started to question now everything in the past couple days. Ryan had informed him that it must have been a coincidence and maybe they were all just overthinking it. Connor liked the idea. He put his candy away and said goodbye to his friends. The next day, Connor had no school, but his parents had to work, so he was alone. After a while he got hungry, so he reached into the jar that housed his candy. He felt a strange object, so he pulled it out. In his hand was a square candy, with red wrapping, sealing it shut. One side of the wrapper was slightly transparent. Connor unwrapped the candy, only to find a box. The box had a small camera lens. On the side and the top read, "Soon you won't be jolly." Connor stumbled backwards and ran outside in a panic. Connor's backyard was right next to a dense forest, so he tried to flee, but I rushed to him and grabbed him. The boy struggling stopped after some time, and I was able to drag him to the forest. He won't be jolly for a long time.